Oh my god. I started recording. Oh
My God.
my god, how are you, Pat?
I'm a little sick still for the probably fifth week in a row. How
Oh
are you?
no. Fifth week in a row.
That sounded so disingenuous. Oh no!
Oh no. Oops. Oopsie whoopsie. I made a poopsie. Anyway. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm trying to fix my mic a little bit. I'm hoping to, not have it blasting in everyone's ears again like it did in the stream episode. I don't know if you listened to that one.
I did. I didn't think it. Yeah, you were a little louder, but I don't think it was that bad, was it?
From my end, it was a bit bad. So I've now moved my mic away
Well,
from me, and I've lowered the input on my mic. So
you've
hopefully
got
it's not
some
as
bad
bad.
ends. I know.
Anyway, when this episode comes out, it will be Pride
Oh my
Month.
God! Hi, gay.
Hi, gay. Happy
Happy
Pride
Pride
Month.
Month. Yeah. Well, yeah, this is as veteran listeners of the podcast will know.
Mm.
Previous Pride, we did a whole series of episodes for the month of June because June is
Mm.
Pride Month. So we'll have 4 episodes coming out in June. And what better way to
Mm.
celebrate gay, queer, the whole rainbow than getting to know your two co-hosts better?
Ah, get to know your gays and don't bury them. Don't bury your gays.
Oh,
As Jackie would say after they watched apparently a vampire anime in
this
which.
is not Jackie's episode.
Okay, it's okay. Work.
We're here to talk
Depends.
about you.
Anyway, for those who are not watching, I'm drinking a Red Bull vodka,
Mm.
and this is gonna be interesting. I'm really ready for Pat to just grill me, call me out
Sear
on
you.
all of my problematic views. Like, I don't know what this
That's
interview is
not
gonna
what
be.
this is. Okay, first of all, and I'm drinking water. Quick side note, I cleaned out my Brita water bottle the other day and there was black stuff in it.
Oh no!
And I don't know if that's like the filter telling me, because the filter is like a black carbon filter. I don't know if it's the
Yeah,
filter telling me I'm done,
I'm
or if it was
ready.
mold. Oh.
Um, well, sometimes that happens with my bottle. I think we have the same bottle. But that happens to my bottle a lot if I don't change the filter.
Mm.
So I definitely recommend changing the filter, which I
Mm.
frequently do not do, which I really should do.
Yeah, because it's like they're like, oh, it'll work for 200 refills. I'm like, how am I supposed to remember?
Well,
Oh,
you mark the date that you did the change, and then
yeah.
approximately like do an average, like approximately how many bottles of
No,
water
no,
do you
no. This
drink
is
per
what you do.
day?
This is what you do. You design a new Brita bottle, right? It looks exactly like this. But on the side is a little manual, like lock ticker thing with 3 values. You could just, every time you fill it, just click it to the next value. And
Okay.
then when this reaches 200, all the numbers are like red or whatever. It just indicates that you have drank it 200 times and then you replace it.
Patent it. Get the patent. Let's go.
Well, I'll be patting it, baby. I'll be patting that
Trademark.
ass.
Oh, get the trademark. Oh my god, a smart water bottle. Why didn't anyone think about this before? It's Wi-Fi synced. It hooks up to your phone and it reminds you
It's
to drink water every day.
and it's a Bluetooth speaker. Anyway, we're doing these interviews not to grill Matt and call him out. Like this is not an interview where I just ask Matt like, why do you hate femme gays? Like I'm not gonna
I
ask him that.
don't. Oh my god, can I tell everyone on the podcast something? The other day,
Yeah.
Me and Pat went out for some lovely drinks in the
Oh,
city.
right. 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 I was
And
like,
we
what did
went
you
out with
do?
some other of his, gay friends that I had just met.
Yeah.
And he went ahead and told them all that I was a Republican, and they all believed him.
I think that you're leaving out key information that the
The,
viewer and listener would be want to know.
what key information? What?
They didn't actually believe you. Or believe me. They didn't believe me. They believed you when you said you weren't. They just liked the idea. And then you just kept doubling down, like, oh my God, don't believe him. No, no. And like, I'm just trying to order you your stickies at 2 in the morning.
Oh, listen, I was drunk and I was really about stickies. How does everyone feel about stickies?
It's funny though, because I think Nathan texted me. He said the next time we go out, we're getting stickies after. And I was like, God's plan.
God's plan.
But yeah,
Nathan was with us, right, when we went to Stickies. I'm pretty.
Yeah, it was Nathan and Andrew.
I'm trying to remember everyone's names. It's hard.
Well,
It's
you
hard out
only
here.
met them twice, so I don't
And
begrudge you
both
for
of
it.
them while I was drunk. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's start these interviews. What are you gonna
Yeah,
ask
so
me?
this interview is just to get to know your host better. Do you
Mm,
host? Let's find out.
mm.
So
Is
please
that your first
state,
question?
well, I don't host, so it's one of the first questions. Please state for the record your name. You don't have to do your whole name. Your
Mm.
name, your age, and how you identify.
My name is Matt Klubeck, as I say every episode.
Yes.
My age, how old am I? 27? I'll be 28 in this coming August, which is nasty. And I, of course,
Okay.
identify as he, him, which I know I may have said that like the first couple episodes of the podcast, and we kind of didn't do that anymore from then on.
Well,
But
because we do that when we get new guests.
that's true. That's true. He, him is how I identify currently, that is.
And what's
Um,
your sexuality?
oh, gay.
Thank you.
technically, homosexual pan romantic is
Oh,
what I
we're
call
getting
myself.
specific. Okay, well, thank you for letting the viewer and listener know.
Yeah.
And it's Pride, so this interview is going to be about obviously your sexual identity
Hmm.
intersecting with your gender expression, your gender identity, your sex. It's going to be about that kind of stuff. I'm not going to ask you things like what did you get in your first test and whatever, doesn't matter.
Drill
So,
me, drill me. Are you gonna ask me what my SAT scores are?
no, they're higher than mine. I know that. Okay, so first
They
question.
weren't that good. I had a really good math score, but a really bad English score.
First question. What is your earliest memory of being queer?
Let me think.
It doesn't necessarily have to be like liking boys, I guess, but just your first memory that you thought something's wrong here.
Something's interesting is going on here.
Yeah.
Something LGBT just happened to me. I think the earliest that I could potentially remember, um, it was either one of two events.
Mm.
The first event could have been when I had The Sims 3, and I may have told you about this. When
Yeah.
I had The Sims 3, and I first realized that you could make The Sims gay. And then once I figured that out, I was like, ooh, this is interesting. And I proceeded to make two of my Sims gay, and I was like, oh, I like this. So maybe that being one of them. Secondly, this one may have been earlier. I'm not sure when The Sims 3 came out, so this one may have been earlier, but I believe in middle school, I would occasionally have like little fantasies of me kissing another boy,
Oh,
that I knew in the grade at the time.
oh my God, who is it? Tell the viewers what's his name.
Ah, no, I'm
You
not
don't have to
gonna.
tell them. Okay,
I'm
fine. You
not
can
gonna tell.
tell me
I'll
later.
tell you later, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say someone's name on the podcast that perhaps maybe or maybe does not listen.
I certainly did. Remember when I said Assad's name? That was fun.
Well, he's a homophobe, so that's.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, you were young, middle school, or
Hmm.
younger. Okay, so
Just middle school. Not. I don't recall any being younger, and having any of those feelings or anything.
what was your earliest memory when you realized that being queer was not seen well in society? Like, what was the first thing you saw that you were like, "Oh, that's not right," or like, "Oh, we don't like that," or "Oh, it's bad for those people"?
Oh my
Do you
god.
have any recollection?
Yes, I have two that may potentially be the earliest memory that
I
I
love
have.
these duplicates we're getting. Yes.
So firstly, and oh my god, I was just having dinner with my like aunts and uncles, and I tried to call them out on this, and they were like, "That didn't
Oh.
happen." And I was like, "This definitely happened." So I was at my aunt and uncle's house, one of them. I couldn't have been more than like, I think I may have been like eight, between 8 and 10, somewhere in there,
Mm.
somewhere in that age range. I remember being called into the like dining room where the aunts and uncles were sitting, and one of them was like, "Matt, do you know what being gay means?" And I was like, yeah, because I did know, like I heard from somewhere. It was like, oh yeah,
You're
it's
like,
when like two
you
boys or two
suck
girls.
cock.
Oh, it's when you suck cock. No, I was like, it's when two boys or two girls like kiss, because I was a child, and I was like, that's what I thought it was basically.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And then I vividly remember my uncle making a comment saying, it's like, you just see them walking down the street, two men holding hands, kissing, like, I don't want to see that. And I very fervently remember this because it is definitely one memory that has contributed to me not coming out until much later in my life than I would have liked to.
The core memory.
Yes, and I had dinner with them this past weekend, and I said, "Hey, like Uncle, whatever, do you remember this happening?" And he goes, "That never happened."
You're not going to name the uncle. Okay, fine.
No,
Don't
no, no,
name the
no.
uncle.
But yeah, I called him out. He said he doesn't remember it happening, and my mom was like, "That definitely could have happened."
Is that your mom's brother or your dad's?
My mom's brother.
Oh, that's even better. So we're like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And what's your second thing?
Mm. Oh god, the second thing, I may have told you this one, but I was at one of my friend's house when I was again fairly young. This one may have
Yeah.
happened in like middle school. I don't really quite remember. I was at my friend's house, and you know how on the Wii you could like make your own little me.
Yeah.
You could make them and make it look like yourself, etc., and then you name it after yourself. Well, one time I went to my friend's house and I had made a me of myself. I went there and I saw that my character had been changed.
Oh.
Apparently, my friend's older brother had changed my me from a male character to a female character and had
Mm.
changed the name to Faggot.
Oh my god! I thought it was gonna be something like, I don't know, like a female, stereotypical female name starts with M, like Marissa
No.
or Matilda, but just faggot.
Yep,
With
straight
the
up.
hard T?
With the hard T. Yep.
Oh my god.
Another thing that I fervently remember that definitely made me come out much later in my life.
So did you get confirmation that it was indeed your me, or just one that looked
Mm-mm.
like you but in woman form?
It was my me that got changed.
And did you
Definitely
find
a
out
hate crime.
why? Oh, did you find out why that happened?
Oh, because they were just, we were all young. They were just like, haha, you're a faggot, like, haha, very funny. Um, Again, like, I'm not even sure I knew I was gay at that point. So, yeah, I still took it to heart because, like, being called a faggot is not nice. But,
It it's not. And you call me it all the time, so let you reflect on that.
listen, we are reclaiming that word when we call each other that. But if someone else calls me that, depending on their sexuality and their identity, then I will fight a bitch. I will.
Whatever you gotta tell yourself, faggot. Whatever you gotta tell yourself. So jumping back to the first comment you made.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a common thing where, and this is not just a queer thing, it's just a thing in general, where children will remember traumatic moments. And when I say traumatic, I don't just mean physically traumatic, emotionally traumatic, just things that were very negatively impactful on them. And then they'll bring it up to their parents or relatives, and the relatives just deny it. And I feel like I feel like that's happens a lot more in that direction than the parent going, this happened, and the kid going, I don't remember. Maybe when they were babies for sure, but I
Yeah.
feel like this is a common thing where, like, I have experienced things when I was younger, and I bring them up to the people involved, my parents and relatives, and they go, I don't think that happened like that, or like, I don't, that never happened, and I'm like, it certainly did,
It's
and that's why I remember it.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, as young children, our brains are more malleable. Like, it makes sense why adults think like, oh, that didn't happen the way the child is reflecting on it happening because like their brain wasn't fully formed. There's no way it could have happened the way that they perceived it. And it's like, well, it still happened because I fervently remember it because it was traumatic for me, and that's why it's memorable.
And not just that, if you think about it, like, the amount of time that the child has experienced it to the present that they're talking about it is very short, or depending on how old they are. but their total memory span, their total life is a lot shorter than that of the parents. So the parent has
Hmm.
to then reflect on that amount of time, which is the same distance for the kid, but also the fact that they have a much larger swath of memories, much larger swath of experiences that could make it harder to remember certain things because,
That's
as you get
true.
older, I've noticed it now. I'm becoming very forgetful.
Well, me too. But also, like, if you were to tell me, like, oh, Matt, you said this thing, I would you if I didn't remember saying it, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds like something I would say. I don't remember
Yep.
saying it, but it sounds like something I would say, so I'm not
Yeah.
denying it.
Like when told Jackie to, I don't know. Anyway,
When I told Jackie to
um,
what?
excuse me.
Ah,
So you already talked about, well, we both talked about our coming out kind of stories on the pod
hmm.
last Pride, I think,
Can I
right?
actually can I actually tell you something funny now that we're talking about this kind of like
Sure, 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 sure.
traumatic incidents? We shouldn't be
Yes,
talking
tell me.
about so much trauma. But anyway.
Work. Tell me what happened.
So this was in high school, and this definitely contributed to me to coming out later.
Hmm.
But you were already out actually, and you had posted an image on Facebook of you
Hmm.
and your ex kissing at Disney in front of the magical castle. You posted it on Facebook. I liked it,
Hmm.
and my family apparently
Oh, we
did
saw
not
that
like
you
this.
liked it because Facebook likes to, well, likes, get it, haha, likes to show people what you like. Okay, so what was the response? Those
Um, uh,
faggots should burn in
that was
hell.
that. No, I remember my mom coming up to me and being like, "So I saw that you liked this thing on Facebook. Like, are you gay?" And I was like, no."
Not the bold, not the bravado of immediately going, I saw you liked an image of two men together. You a fag? And you're like, Mom, if you think that's bad, look at my search history.
And I remember her telling me like, other members of our family had seen that I had liked that, and they were
Yeah.
like being very judgmental about it, and they like, you know, I remember my mom saying like, "Oh, some people are just really not okay with that," and I was like, "Okay, work. I mean, I don't care who those people are, but if they are, then they could tell me to my
Play.
face."
Oh,
I remember saying it. I
um,
was very defendant of you.
oh, thank
I was
you.
like, they could say it to my face if
They
they have
could,
a problem with it.
I will say that, yeah, I did that. I did post one of those cringy photos.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, ugh. The whole the whole experience is just not something I look back on fondly. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, that did happen. Um, but yeah, we did talk about our coming out respective stories earlier in another
Yeah.
Pride series, so I'm not going to talk about the specifics. But I feel like we focus a lot on the things that the traumatic moments that made us fold ourselves into pretzels and throw ourselves further into the closet. But I was wondering if you had moments before you came out that made you feel validated as a queer person, or things that made you think that being queer was actually a positive experience than a negative experience.
Ooh. Okay. Work. Um. Yeah. So I'd say basically up through Pat, you contributed so much to my life. Apparently,
Oh my
I'd say
god.
up through your coming out to me, you were like the first queer person that had been out to me. Like obviously
Mm,
more people that I know now are queer as well,
yeah.
but you were the first person that had come out as queer to me that was part of my circle.
Mm. Mm.
So
Yes.
up to that point, like every perception of being queer has always been negative, and there's never been
Oh,
a
Jesus
positive.
Christ.
At least from my perspective, there really
Well,
hasn't.
yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Um, and it's mostly because like I never knew any queer people personally, and like every other with my family members and people in our friend group making offhanded comments, it was always a negative thing until you came out, and I was like, oh my god, work.
Slay.
So you were the positive aspect of queerness for me.
Thank you.
You're
That's so
welcome.
sweet. Well, is there anything else?
Well, and then obviously I met more queer people in college. I
Yeah.
and after you came out, I started seeing queer people more positive light. And then I met a whole bunch of new people in college, which was great. That's why college is great, honestly, because you get to meet so many different people from so many different
Yeah.
backgrounds that you really diversify yourself.
Diversify your portfolio.
Even so, I still hid myself away in the closet until eventually I had to come out, which we've already talked about.
Yes. And for that, please refer to, I guess it's just called Our Coming Out Stories, I think.
It's called Our Coming Out Stories. If you would
It's
like to learn
sometime in
more,
June.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you would like to
Um,
learn more, go back maybe 20 or so episodes. I don't know. We do them every week. So maybe like 50 episodes. Oh my God.
yeah, 20. I was like, 20 episodes. You're gonna go like what, 5 months?
Go like 50 or so episodes back and look in last June for Our Coming
Yeah.
Out Stories.
Okay, so yeah, mostly negative experiences. Isn't that lovely? How that always seems to
It's
happen.
not. It's not
But
lovely.
then, but then you came out.
And then I did. Yeah.
So, you came out now a while ago. You've been out for a while.
A while.
And I was wondering if you could compare and contrast your pre and post coming out life in terms of both of those things, the negative experiences and the positive
Mhm.
experiences, such as now that you're out, do you find more negative experiences as a queer person? Do you see it even more fervently? And also the flip side, do you have much more positive experiences?
Well, I think that we are fortunate enough to have come out in a time period where it was a little bit more accepted.
Yeah.
So when I came out, nobody was outwardly like to my face. Obviously, no one was outwardly against it,
Well, except for Jackie.
except for Jackie, that freaking homophobic cunt.
Yes.
Nobody was outwardly against it. As a matter of fact, when I came out to my extended family, I got a lot of heartfelt, heartwarming text messages
Mm.
from across the family, but surprisingly more from my female relatives than my male
Is that
relatives.
surprising?
It's not.
Is that surprising?
I don't know what it is. You know how straight people are.
Oh, I do.
Like straight women are much more likely to be accepting, I feel, than straight men. And also they're more likely to like reach out and try to be heartfelt than straight men will be. Anyway,
Mm.
just from my
Moving on.
experience at least. But yeah, after coming out, I don't say I've experienced any outward discrimination in person, but obviously over the internet, people are assholes. You hide behind a screen, you can get a homophobic comment on your YouTube video or your TikTok video at some
Oh
point,
my God. Yes.
But
Yes.
nothing like in front of me. No one has been bold enough to be homophobic to my face.
I mean, you're just so domineering, like you're just so tough looking. How tough are you?
No, I'm actually the opposite. I feel like
The
I'm not
bottom?
tough looking. Nah. No, I'm not tough looking enough because I think I've said this on the podcast before. People like look at me and they're like, "Oh my God, I want to talk to this person," and I'm like, "No, don't talk to me. Like, I don't want to talk to you." That
Yeah, I mean, I have the same problem, but with my asshole. Someone just wants to talk to it. Lip service.
you have the opposite of a resting bitch asshole.
I have a resting open asshole.
Open.
ROA, resting open asshole. Okay, so how about the positive experiences?
I mean, yeah. I mean, since coming out, the queer experiences have been a lot more positive. I feel much more like my authentic self
Oh,
um,
yeah.
when I'm when I'm interacting with the queer community and with queer people.
Yeah.
I just feel like more like myself when I am around those type of people because I feel like I'm not constrained by societal rules.
Right.
For example, being constrained by what I can wear, how I can act, how I can talk,
Yes.
even so much as the way that I sit. For
Oh,
example, crossing my
leg spread.
legs spread. No, I just remember always being made fun of in high school for crossing my legs while sitting. And now, who the fuck cares? Because I don't have to bend to your
Honestly,
rules.
The only bending
I'll
you do
bend
is in front
over.
of your boyfriend, honey.
Ah!
So, well, that's good. I mean, I this is kind of going off of what the actor from Heartstopper said in his interview, where he said we should be giving both the straight and queer community representation of positive queer experiences and positive love stories. So I think it's good to always, we can always talk about the negatives. I think the negatives are always around us, but it's good to mention some of the positive things. So, now that you're out and you've talked about some of your positive and negative experiences, what do you think is and I suspect I know the answer to this, what is the sort of like best part about being out, or maybe not the best part, but the thing that you've since coming out have like gained and loved the most, or the thing that you enjoyed the most about being out?
Ah! Let's see. I
Just
mean,
moan.
a couple things probably. I mean, obviously, I got my boyfriend, who's lovely. Um,
Oh,
so that was definitely.
oh,
Ah! Is this episode just gonna be us moaning repeatedly at each other?
probably. I mean, isn't that every?
Ah!
Okay, yeah, go on, go on.
Pat's like, I'm done with this bitch.
This, I am.
So obviously I had my boyfriend, which was really nice, really amazing. But also, like, all the different queer friends that I've made, Jackie, who else do I know?
What other fags do I know?
No, there's a whole bunch of fags over at the con scene that are very lovely people.
You've met some of my and Kel's fags.
I love them too. It's just like, I don't know what it is, but when gay people, hang out together, they get together, it just feels so much more energetic. It feels so much more, uh, I don't know how to say, like, not stringent. Like, people aren't holding themselves back.
So fuck your straight friends.
Yeah, no.
Ah! Anthony, John, Trevor
Anthony.
found dead.
It's like
Dead.
everyone has found their own sense of expression, and they're expressing themselves the way that they want without any rules being
Yeah.
like, again, societal rules being constricted on top of you. So it just
Yeah.
feels very authentic. It feels very, real and happy.
No, yeah, I think the sense of community is definitely one of, if not the most important
Mm.
aspect or thing you gain when you come out. So,
And also,
you
like,
know,
when you're with queer people, you just automatically know. Like, obviously, queer people can be homophobic or transphobic or whatever, but you
mhm.
know that when you're with them, there's much less likely of a chance that you will be judged for being yourself. Whereas
Yeah,
if you're around a bunch of straight people, maybe you're going to be more reclusive because you fear that there's going to be some sort of, not hate crime, but like some sort of homophobia or transphobia against you. Uh,
right.
so that's what makes having safe spaces like, I say safe spaces like gay clubs, but
I mean, but you're not wrong.
yes. Can there be other safe spaces? Yes, I really wish there were more diversified types of queer safe spaces.
Yeah, my
Uh,
whole.
yeah, I mean,
Everyone's welcome.
but having those safe spaces is really nice because then again you can be yourself and not have to worry about, being killed or anything. Anyway.
Oh God. Yeah, I think all of that sounds good. So I think that sort of transitions well into the next line of questioning, which will involve, the idea of pride. Pride, the month of pride, the celebration of pride, whatever. Bleh. Um, in 3 words, what does pride mean to you?
Oh my god,
And
my
I mean
god.
queer, I mean the gay pride, not queer pride, not pride as in like the just standard definition.
Right. So
Three words.
wait. Pride in the standard definition? Or,
Not the standard definition, but like
okay.
Pride Month, queer pride. What does that mean to you in 3 words? Three
Okay.
words, not 3 phrases, not 3 diatribes. 3 words.
Okay. Well, my first word is rights. Why do I say rights? Because pride is a protest.
Mm,
That was his original purpose, and yeah, it's perhaps turned into just like a party nowadays, but it's still a protest for gay rights. So I will always say, it's all about rights.
yeah.
Secondly, probably like expression. And yeah, third, I'll just go with like fun.
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 Yeah. And when you think about pride, queer pride, I mean, what does that look like to you in your day-to-day life?
To me,
Yeah, well, because I'm not going to ask you to talk to about other people, but for you, day to day or in the month of June, whatever, like what does queer pride, gay pride because you're gay, what does that
yeah.
look like to you? Or what do you do to show your gay pride?
Right. I mean, for me, the reason that pride exists in the first place is because there's so much discrimination against the people of our community. So the reason we say, I'm out and I'm proud and I'm proud of who I am, um, is because people won't accept us.
Hmm.
So pride for me is being able to express myself without without that discrimination. If everything was a-okay in the world, there would be no problem with it, gay people or lesbians or trans people being around. We wouldn't have to worry about discrimination
Right.
in any form. I don't know where I was going with this, but
No, I mean, I think it's kind of trite and it's said a lot, but visibility is, you know, a very I don't want to say easy, but it's one of the most sort of easily accessible ways to show gay pride is to just be visible in your community as a queer person or as a gay person, as a trans person. So I think it starts there because that's the sort of like I said, the most offhand thing to do. But of course, you can show your pride and then show your yourself in any sorts of ways. So, you went to Pride once.
I did. I did.
Uh, did you
Just
feel
once.
necessarily proud with your decisions?
Um, yeah, I would do it again. No regrets.
Ah, do it again.
I'd do it again. So we went to the Pride Parade. This was pre-COVID. I think it was literally, was it the year before? Or I think
I
it
think it
was,
was two. I was with Kelly.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know how long though. It might have been 1 or 2 years before COVID. I can't remember.
Okay, it was a year before COVID, either 2018 or 2019, probably. I came dressed in all rainbow because I was like, fuck it, you know?
This man went on Amazon and saw their Pride section and was like, "Add
Let
to cart."
let me buy up everything. Okay.
Yeah,
And then I got wasted, and it was amazing.
yeah. I remember three things from that day.
Me being
because
wasted.
because some of it is I can't remember anything. First thing was going to Dunkin',
Oh yeah.
getting coffee. Second thing was getting to the Monarch, which was the rooftop bar we drank at,
Hmm.
where Kel's friend Pablo or whoever just kept buying like bottle service for the table, which was super expensive and I
Mm.
did not pay for.
Yep.
And then obviously drinking there. And then you drunk on the path going home. It was lovely. It was such a lovely experience. Especially not to get sappy, not to get
Ah,
emotional, but it was nice to see you in, a very, because we had obviously, you had been out.
yeah.
Clearly, I knew you were gay. We've
Ah,
hung out before in gay spots, like you go to uh, Georgie's,
yeah.
Big Dyke Bar.
Ah.
Um, And I'm pretty sure we had gone out to the city, I'm sure, before that. But seeing you in a completely saturated queer space and you having fun was nice.
Ah. Yeah, I think if that Pride was 2018, and I'm just gonna say that it was. That would have been 3 years since I had come out, which is a lot shorter than my current 7 years, or even
That
8 years.
that's how time works. You stupid bitch.
I'm
Oh,
trying to paint a picture for everyone.
hate my dick. Okay,
I
so
would
moving
if you
on.
would let me.
Like it's like one of your French girls.
Like that
Moving
one
on.
guy that we saw at Pride
Oh my god, with a painted dick.
with a painted dick. Yeah.
Well, this is good. Let's keep going with the pride conversation. So, uh, well, I got two questions, but let's start with the sadder question first.
Oh,
Pride, queer pride, encapsulates everyone part of the LGBTQIA2 plus community.
yeah.
And
Don't yawn.
I'm so sorry, it's 8:35 p.m. and I've been up since
That's
like
not that
7.
late.
I've been up since 7. Like I was saying,
Yeah.
it encapsulates all members of our community. Yet there's a lot of internal strife,
Mm.
internalized prejudices and phobias against members of our own community against each other. For example, obviously, there's a big issue with trans people in the community facing a lot of backlash from other members of the queer community.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I've heard. Now, I'm not trans or non-binary, but I've heard from non-binary people that trans people, people that are in transition, physically on hormones, can sometimes give them grief for being non-binary. They're,
Mm.
saying that if you're not transitioning, you're not trans, or you're not, you're still your assigned gender, or whatever you were assigned at birth. So, there's internal strife. There's even racial. There's all types, basically.
Yeah,
Any
yeah.
sort of issue you find in community at large, you can find in the queer community.
Yep.
Why is that?
Um,
Why can't we all be like, we're all just a bunch of faggots? Why can't we just love each other?
is this part of my interview? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the problem that I have with this, right, is because you'd think that people being part of a marginalized community means they'd be more open to other marginalized communities, but they're not, and they never are. Like
Yeah.
people in the queer community, especially white queers, can still be racist. They can still be transphobic. Even people that are in marginalized races can still be homophobic, and I see that quite a bit. So
Mhm.
it's like nobody, like, people are marginalized, but then they still go out of their way to be discriminatory against other marginalized groups. I don't know why. Maybe to make themselves feel more powerful because they feel so weak because of their marginalization. Like, I don't know. I don't know why it happens, but it's dumb.
It is, and oh God, what was I just had something for this. I just had a follow up. It's on the it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh God.
Mm,
Oh God.
you lost it?
I know the other question I wanted to ask, but there was a follow up to wait, everyone hates people. Oh, here it is. Oh God. Okay, here I found it. Little disclaimer. We are both cis. Well, I'm cis white. Matt is cis white presenting.
Yeah.
Uh, Gay men who have both lived, I would say, pretty good lives.
Yeah, relatively privileged
So,
lives, except for the fact that we're
yeah.
gay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we obviously have faced some prejudices for being gay, but I think we're speaking from a place of exorbitant.
As who? Hello.
Wait, exuberant means happy, exorbitant means a lot, right?
Exorbitant, I think, is what the word you're going
Yeah.
for.
We have exorbitant privilege. We have exorbitant good stuff happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't face as much discrimination as other members of our community, such as queer people of color, trans people, non-binary people. So when we talk about these things, we're talking about our perspective on it, and should not be taken and applied to the community at large. And we are not speaking for the community at large. We are simply speaking from our own experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is that what you had to
Oh,
say?
that's what I wanted to say. Just so no one came for us. I'm trying to cover all of our bases. All right, back to transphobia.
I don't want to go back to transphobia. I don't.
All right, does kink belong at Pride?
Here we go. So, my opinion on this question has changed since last year.
I
Um,
know.
yes, it very much does belong at Pride.
What?
Whereas last year I was like on the fence. This year I am like
You
everyone should be
shoved
able
that
to do whatever the
right up your
fuck they want.
ass, and
Shove it
you
right
wore a
up my ass.
dumbass. Oh, you did it. Puppy play.
Ah! The more and more I think about, like, let's say a child was at Pride, right?
Oh,
And they saw someone on a leash. What harm does that actually do to that child?
if it
Bro,
was me, I would have been like, "Get me on that leash."
I don't think that child would, even if they're like 5 or something, I don't think that child would even be harmed at all by just seeing that. And sure,
Well,
maybe they ask questions, maybe their parent has to say some sort of response that maybe is less kinky than it is. But what
yeah,
harm is that actually doing? I don't think it's harmful at all.
yeah, and I also think people, well, two things. First, you brought up that Pride is very much a protest.
Pride is a protest, yeah.
Those people who exhibit, oh my God, those people who have, those sort of lifestyles, those sort of kinks, those sort of proclivities are also members of this marginalized group, and sometimes they're even more marginalized, or even more scandalized, vandalized, hyperbolized.
Can I bring it up? I'm gonna bring
My
it up.
dick?
No, I'm gonna bring
Oh.
it up. The most marginalized like kink community is furries. And it's kind of terrible, I will say. Like everyone likes to pick on furries, but like it's just a kink. Like stop kink shaming them.
Yeah, it's also not always sexual. I would
That is
like to
also
say
true,
that
yes.
kinks, like the idea of a kink is usually related to a sexual desire, or like something has to do with sex, but not everything that you see as a kink could be sexual to that person. Like a person, being tied up, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. It can, but it can
Yeah.
also be about relinquishing control, allowing someone else to control them, and that actually brings them a sense of calmness, security, peace from people who have, let's say, high anxiety or work in high anxiety positions where like they're the boss all the time, so they need to be controlled. Things
Yeah.
like a furry, like that's not necessarily sexual. There are people who dress up as animals, have personas, and do have sex with each other, but there are also those who find comfort in an identity that is more aligned with how they feel, which
Yeah, like
trans people, non-binary people can definitely empathize with that. I mean, I can empathize with that, as being gay is not only just who I'm attracted to, but I don't, when people say, oh, being gay, is that like your personality? Kinda, like it kind of is.
I
Like,
guess part of my identity, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
my queerness, my gayness informs the rest of me. So my personality, it has components of that community, has components of that lifestyle, has components of those mannerisms, words, content. So it is all sort of jumbled up together. So for those people who wear furry suits, I mean, it is part of their personality. It is the way they self-express, and sometimes it's sexual, sometimes it's not. So if you see them walking around outside, don't. I'm so okay. This is not my interview, but I'm just gonna say it. I said it before. I'll say it again. I'm so just hippie now. Like I'm such a hip. Like I just
I'm a
want everyone
hipster.
to, not hipster, hippie. Like just like I want everyone to just fucking just relax. Love is love. Like just fucking let people do what they want to do, as long as everyone is consenting and no one's being hurt unless they like being hurt.
Oh my god. This kind of not to derail the conversation away from furries because you know I
Do it,
love
derail
talking
me.
about that.
Uh,
This reminds me of again, I had a dinner with my aunts and uncles where I brought that whole other thing up. But one of
mm,
my cousins is there, a cousin who's much much older than me.
mm.
He looks at me because we're talking about like queer
Is he
identities and
hot?
like trans identities,
Is he
and
hot?
no.
Oh!
Anyway, he looks at me. It's okay. He would never listen to this podcast. He looks at me and he goes, "Look, I've never had a problem with the gay thing, but the people who are out here going against their biology and changing their genders, like I'm not okay with that." I looked at him. I was like, "Okay, it doesn't affect you at all, so work."
What did he
Uh,
say?
he was just like, "Okay." I mean, like I don't know what to say to someone like that. Like the people who they're older, they're very set in their ways. I really don't know what to say. And again, I'm not trans, so I can't even explain the experience.
Mhm.
So the only thing I can say is like, look, you are not trans. You do not know any trans people, so you can say you're okay with it or you're not, but like you'll never understand them. You'll
Yeah,
never understand their perspective. I barely understand their perspective because I'm also not part of that community. So like
yeah,
I'm just like you can not understand people and still support them. I don't understand people that will just like I don't support your lifestyle. I don't support what you're doing. I don't really get that.
excuse me, sorry. Yeah. Um, yeah. But again, I think I've asked you this before. I know we've talked about it before. When do we, as queer community members, advocate for the acceptance of people of our community, and when do we not advocate? Because I don't mean, when I say not advocate, I don't mean actively tell people hate the gays, trans people are
Ah!
disgusting. No, I'm saying, especially when I'm around family members, conservative family members,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when my family members say something, I'm very gung ho about it because my sibling is non-binary. So if anything comes up with that realm, I jump on it. I'm like, fuck you. I didn't start with fuck you. I started with, let me try to reason with you. Let me
Yeah.
try to explain this in a way that you'll understand. No longer can I do that. So I just go, fuck you. However, there are people who say, no, you should always try to reason with these people. You should always try to get them on our side. And then there are others that say some people are too far gone. So, how do you, as a queer person, kind of decide who's worth saving and who isn't?
Who's
Like,
worth
who's worth your
saving?
time? Who's worth your time? How do you decide who's worth your time explaining something to and who's just fucking not?
Look, for me, it depends on whether or not the other person is willing to talk to me. Like,
Right.
I knew going into that conversation, like, I told you this, but the first thing, when I sat down at that dinner with my family members, the first thing they said was like, okay, Matt, you're gay, right? So here's a question for you. What is a woman? I was like, okay, I already know where this is. And if we're going to have an argument about transgender identities, this is going to turn into a political fight, and they're not actually going to be willing to hear what I have to say. They just want to cause arguments. They just want to like antagonize me. And I'm like, there's no reason for me to try to reason with that person because I know they're just debating in bad faith. So
Yes.
if they approach me with the mindset of they want to hear what I have to say, then I will gladly try to explain my perspective and the way that I see the queer community. But if it starts off with an antagonistic statement like that, then I'm not going to bother. Because they're not going to listen to me. That's just the way that I feel.
Yeah, I think that's a good rule, and it kind of dovetails perfectly to the sort of ending to
Ah,
the last statement. Oh my God, my high. The last question I had. You say that you sit down at the table and someone goes, "Well, you're gay. Answer this question." And I think
yeah.
that really that brings us back to the pathos, the ethos of our podcast. Pathos.
Pathos
It's one of
theme.
those.
I don't
That
know.
one. That
Theme.
one of
Yeah.
our podcast where if someone's read the podcast description, they'll know that we discussed briefly the idea of tokenism, as a gay person. And of course, the caveat being gay, white presenting / white cis person, you don't get we don't get as much perspective as we like because of our
Yeah.
privilege, but we do offer some. So how have how do you feel about the podcast? Do you feel good about it? Have you thought about what we disseminate? Do you think we have a positive impact in the queer community? A small but positive impact?
I do think so, and I know that we've obviously changed a lot since we first started. The
Yeah, we moved.
Wait, we moved. I moved. You moved too. Oh my god.
Fucking Christ. Yes.
The direction of our podcast has definitely changed. I feel like we have, moved to just general discussions about like things that are happening and then, giving our perspective as parts of the queer community. I think that message is important
Yeah.
because typically queer voices are silenced. People talk about, oh, censorship. I feel like the people being censored the most at this point are probably people trying to talk about their gay experiences. For example, what's
Yeah.
happening in Florida right now, but that's not what we're talking about.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's right. That happened.
That happened. Did you see the video of the valedictorian who was giving a speech and he referred
Curly
to
hair.
curly hair? That was an amazing video.
I I, I quickly before we wrap up, I think aren't those speeches sort of validated before they are given? He has to submit the speech and then someone has to say yes or no. Did he just put in like a dummy speech, get up there and pull out his real speech? Because I can't imagine that the school would want him doing that because it's clear that he's not talking about his curly hair.
I mean, I don't. Maybe they read it, and like when you read it on paper, it doesn't sound like he's talking about being gay. But maybe their restriction was, look, you cannot say the word gay. You can say anything
It's
else
like
though.
he control F'd gay and replaced it.
And replaced it with curly hair. Yeah,
And
that's
you
what
know
it felt
what?
like.
If I was in that auditorium as a high school senior, the speed at which I would go up there and blow that man in front of the whole class, I've been like, you better work.
You
You
better work.
stupid bitch.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, if you haven't seen that video, I believe it was a Florida valedictorian who spoke about being gay, but, you know, reference it as curly hair. You could probably just look up, like, curly hair valedictorian and it will come up on
Yeah,
YouTube
curly hair
or
gay.
whatever. Yeah, curly hair gay. One of those things. If you want to go watch that video for yourself. Anyway, let's wrap up.
Yes, I think this has been a very insightful interview. We've got a lot of things out in the open. And we learned a little more about you. So hopefully our viewer and listener, enjoy that.
Do you feel that you know more about me? Or did you know everything already?
No, I didn't know everything. I didn't know about that me thing. That kills me. That kills me. And I might have known about the picture of me and my ex triggering your triggering your family in some way.
No.
But I might have forgotten. But that's iconic. Your mom goes up to me like, fag?
You a fag?
And for clarification, Matt's mom did not call him a fag. That is me hyperbolizing it for comedic effect.
Yes. And my mom is also now completely fine with my gay identity. It's
yeah,
perfectly fine.
If anything, she knows that your uncle probably said that to you when you were younger.
That's what she said. She was like, that could have happened. And I'm like,
Well, this has been the first installment of our 2022 Pride series. Scratch that ear. Yeah, scratch that ear.
It was itchy.
This has been the What Do the Gays Think podcast. You can find us on your podcasting platforms every Wednesday, hopefully.
we
try.
We try.
We also stream on Twitch at What Do the Gamers Think every Monday and Thursday. We also have a Redbubble. We also have a Twitter, WDTGT Podcast, which has a link for all of our stuff, including our Discord, Pride Empire. Join the Discord, have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Patrick.
And I am my faggot me from my friend's house. Matt.
It still takes me out that you called your cousin not attractive.
Okay. All right. I'm ending the episode here.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.